Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship here with another video. So we're going to react to a TikToker, Amy Pays Off Debt. So the starting debt is 128,000 and currently is at 127,000. And the main premise of the channel is working to pay off our irresponsible consumer debt. So I assume she's married, and I think from the looks of it, she is a mom. But let's go ahead and take a look at how much she made on social media February
Let's
2026.
see how much money I made on social media in the month of February. Hi, my name is Amy. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I'm trying to pay off $128,000 of consumer debt using social media. I post on multiple different accounts across multiple different platforms. So this is not the account that I make money on right now, but I did tag my main account in the caption, and that's where I post vlogs, funny videos, motherhood content, things like that. I worked on growing that account for about a year, and I did start making money toward the end of 2025. Then we had a schedule change, and my kids kept getting sick, and making content just wasn't a top priority at the time. So I stopped posting on my main account for about 3 months. Taking that break definitely did affect my account, but I've been consistently posting again for the last 2 months, and I'm starting to see collab invitations and potential brand deals come in, so things are looking up. With that being said, some of the terms and conditions prevent me from being able to share an exact dollar amount for an exact category, so I've kind of lumped them together across multiple accounts and platforms. So let's get into it. February 2026, number one, affiliate links. I have a few different platforms where I can post products and earn commission from it. If you want to know which ones, I have them linked on my account, and from those platforms, I made $1.77. That was actually a huge surprise.
What? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What? Hold on.
Which ones, I have them linked on my account, and from those platforms, I made $1.77.
$1.77. Okay, like you could probably just work McDonald's for like a week and you make more than that, definitely. Like you make more than an hour working at McDonald's.
$7. That was actually a huge surprise because I didn't work on my links at all in the month of February. Because I had just started posting again, my main focus was content, not sharing links. So any commissions I made are actually from old videos from last year. Along the same lines as number two, which is TikTok Shop. And in the month of February, I earned $3.60.
Yeah, sometimes you should just get a job. Like it would just be better to get a minimum wage job. And here's the thing, if you want to stay at home, I'm pretty sure there's better work at home opportunities doing like medical billing, coding, heck, even online tutoring of kids. If you want to go that route, if you want to be a stay at home mom, and I think she's a stay at home mom, whose husband probably works and supports the family, because this looks like a really nice house. I'm not gonna lie, nice, kitchen, cabinets, you got all that jazz there. Looks it looks pretty. It looks like there's plenty of space there. But to work at social media, even if you take a break, like when I took a break, I was still making $50 a month at least, right? Oh my goodness.
I haven't posted a TikTok shop video in I don't know how long, but I checked where that commission came from, and it's from a video I posted almost a year ago. Number three is how much I made from views. And like I said, this isn't just on TikTok. This is across multiple platforms that pay for views. And in total, I made $2.46. Lastly, number four is brand deals. And from that, I made $0. Because of the break that I took, I wasn't expecting to get a brand deal anytime soon, but I actually have some gifted collaborations in the works, and I'm starting to negotiate some paid brand deals. So I'm hoping to be able to land some sooner than later. In total, for the month of February, I made $7.83 on social media.
Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. $7.83. Now look at this. I feel like this account has to be a parody at this point. Why? Saying you're going to pay off $120,000 of debt on social media when you make like $7 in a month. Brutal, right? That's how I'm feeling right now. I was like, is this a parody account? But maybe she's serious. But the fact that she has several kids and lives in a nice house probably means her husband pays for everything. Because you can't survive off of $7.83 in a month. I mean, no matter how much I try to do, let's say velocity banking and do the spreadsheet, $7.83 ain't gonna cut it. Like, and that's just income, right? It's not like it doesn't take into account expenses. So, oh my goodness, man. Well, at least she's doing well. I mean, it's $128,000 of debt, but I'm assuming that her husband is taking care of everything. All right, well, now that we've seen that, I mean, I don't even know what to say. It doesn't feel real to me, but there's all kinds of situations, right? Yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, let's go ahead and get started and do another debt payoff simulation using what we used to call velocity banking, but now we just call it the velocity debt cannonball method. We need to think of another name, but it's kind of like Prince, right? There's Prince, and then there's the artist formerly known as Prince, and this is the method formerly known as velocity banking to pay off debt. And if you don't know the story, TLDR, too long didn't read. Basically, the state of Illinois has gone off after other content creators who are offering a service to pay off debt using what was a banned word. The banned word is banking, because they were not a bank. So trying to transition off of that word, but can't think of it. So we'll just call it the method formerly known as velocity banking for now. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So velocity banking, what is it? It's a debt payoff strategy where you throw all your money into debt. And that's what it is. Like it's like not saving money 2.0 rebranded. And I know like a lot of people feel like what is so special about this is that it actually will help a lot of people. I'm not saying everybody pay off debt, and certainly won't help you if you make only $7.83 um, as a stay-at-home mom. And no shade to her. I'm pretty sure she put a lot of effort into her social media channels. But you know what? Making money, the way that it works is it's simply not fair. Like, why does a doctor or a lawyer like make, $300 to $500 a month, an hour, doing whatever, just like responding to an email, and then like someone who's a stay-at-home mom is making like $7.83 making all these TikTok videos. I don't know. It's supply and demand. I mean, I know the answer, but it's just like it doesn't, supply and demand are very abstract concepts. You know what I mean? But anyways, so let's go ahead and assume that we have a $5,000 a month income, $4,431.87 in expenses, and $568.13 is leftover checking and savings. And then here, we're going to do something much simpler. We assume no mortgage, three credit cards, an auto loan, and then the rent, and then we have our personal expenses. In fact, the rent should be included in the personal expenses too, because this is the only thing out of the expense breakdown here that's not a debt. Usually I put a mortgage here, but we'll just say the rent is 1,200, right? And then here, what I'm going to do is copy and paste, and we're going to assume the same income, yeah, and the same expenses. And when we pay off debt, the whole goal is to not save money, and we help um, manage our cash flow using something called a line of credit. So, what's a line of credit? It's basically a financial tool where you could borrow money, pay it back, and use it over and over again. So, if you're dealing with home equity lines of credit, it's very common to deal with credit lines of like 20 to 40,000, or even like hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Very, very, very common. Um, but in this case, we don't own a home, we're renting, and we're dealing with lower dollar amounts. So let's assume we have access to, I don't know, a $30,000 personal line of credit. It may or may not be possible depending on your bank. Usually, when I get a personal line of credit, I think the most I've ever gotten was 15 grand. Yeah, 15 grand in a personal line of credit. And so that's what I assume that we're going to use a personal line of credit. And then what we're going to do is use a formula called the cash flow index. So if you don't know what the cash flow index is, it's just a formula where you get the debt amount divided by the payment, and then it gives you a number. And the lower the number, that's the one you want to pay off because it gives you more bang for your buck in terms of cash flow. So I can pay 20 grand off of this auto loan and get $359 back in my cash flow, or I could pay 15 grand and get 487, right? So you pay less, you get more cash flow. Therefore, you want to tackle these numbers, okay? So let's assume we have a $30,000 line of credit. Now, if you don't have that much left over and you have a lot of debt, will the bank give you a free and clear line of credit? The answer to that is no, because the banks don't lend money to people who need it. And I'm assuming that for her, she was able to get $127,000 of debt because her husband makes a lot of money, right? I'm assuming if she's able to only make $7.83 a month as a stay-at-home mom with no other job, her husband is the one who's probably the one with the income. And when the bank sees that you have income and you have no debt, that's who they want to who they want to get debt, because now you're making money kind of like a vampire or a leech, right? Leeches don't they don't want to suck on people's I don't know what you would call it if they don't have any blood. You know what I mean? Like if they don't have any blood, the leech doesn't want anything to do with you. Same thing with the bank. The bank is a leech. The bank is a vampire, right? They don't create goods and services. Well, technically, it's a service. You're just moving money, but you're just kind of making money off of the movement of money and borrowing of money, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to just move this into a line of credit. So it's going to be 5, 8, 15, and I'm going to go ahead and sum it up. And that's going to be $28,000. Okay, $28,000. So let's move this into a line of credit that we assumed that we had before, because the bank's not going to lend you money when you need it, right? They don't lend money to people who need it. And if you want to see a more realistic scenario, I have a case where I've actually done a simulation of someone who had 22 debts, $4 left over. It was $4 or $5 left over, and made about 5,000 a month. That's probably like my PhD in this thing, this debt method formerly known as velocity banking. Okay, so final step, right, is actually not the final step. Now that we've moved some of our debt into the line of credit, then now we increase our cash flow. So this cash flow has increased about, almost $1,000, which is really good because we didn't make more money, right? Same money, same income, but then now it's just $568.13 to 1460.90, 63, and then our final step is we put our entire paycheck into the line, take our expenses out, and then rinse and repeat over and over again. So let's go ahead and keep doing that, and then that'll be 1490.63. Oops, I put 64. And then what we're going to do is take the average daily balance, multiply it by the interest rate, and then divide by 12. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste, divided by 12, and then this is going to be 21 months. So not bad. So a little bit less than 2 years we have the debt paid off, and I'll just write 21 months here to pay off about, how much in it, 28K. All right, let's go ahead and do that. All right, and then now we have our auto loan, and that's the last one because rent is not a debt. I just put rent here separate from our other personal expenses because usually I like to separate that out. It's a little bit easier. But yeah, I mean, we just have one more debt, which is the car. So now we just use this loan calculator right here. So let me just do month 21. So ignore the other two because this is for other demonstrations. But let me go ahead and do this. So now we have about 13 grand into our debt, and we have a low cash flow index number. So this is safe to move into a line of credit. So now what we're going to do is just move this into a line of credit, and then this is going to be plus 13,338.13. So that's the current balance of the auto loan. And then now we get an extra $300 by simply doing a debt transfer. And then now our cash flow is almost $2,000. Okay. And this is our max our cash flow will ever be because we don't have any more debt, right? So just be aware of that, that our cash flow only increases when we eliminate the debt. So 1850.00. Okay. And let's go ahead and do this. Yep. And then we see that in 28 months, it's all paid off. All right. So now, right here, 28 months, we are debt free, and we had about $48,000 of debt. So $48,000 of debt, and who knows? Maybe at this time we might be able to qualify for a mortgage, right? But now, we're just doing better, and we're debt free in under, a couple of years. I'd say a little bit more than 2 years. So debt free, 1850 is our cash flow, and certainly not making $7.83 a month, right? Probably, you know, and a lot of people don't understand how social media works, right? I don't either, to be honest. I probably need to hire an SEO expert, but I still make about like $100 a month on just YouTube, right? Maybe I should start a TikTok channel. Get one of those splicers that like, cut up my videos and then dub them automatically. Okay, well, that's it for today, folks. Korean Mentorship. So I'll see you on the next video. And who knows, maybe I'll just crank out like 10 videos a day so that I can get my videos in the algorithm again. Because once you stop for like a couple months, then it gets really hard. So have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you on the next video.